Chapter 12. The original sin is to limit the is. Don't. It was an easy, warm afternoon between rain showers, sidewalks wet on our way out of town. You can walk through walls, can't you, Don? No. When you say no to something, I know is yes. That means you don't like the way I said the question. We certainly are observant, aren't we? He said. Is the problem with walk or with walls? Yes, and worse. Your question presumes that I exist in one limited place-time and move to another place-time. Today, I'm not in the mood to accept your presumptions about me. I frowned. He knew what I was asking. Why didn't he just answer me straight and let me get on to finding out how he does these things? That's my little way of helping you be precise in your thinking, he said mildly. Okay, you can make it appear that you can walk through walls if you want. Is that a better question? Yes, better, but if you want to be precise, don't tell me. I know how to say what I mean. Here is my question. How is it that you can move the illusion of a limited sense of identity, expressed in this belief of a space-time continuum as your body, through the illusion of material restriction that is called a wall? Well done, he said. When you ask the question properly, it answers itself, doesn't it? No, the question hasn't answered itself. How do you walk through walls? Richard! You had it nearly right and then blew it all to pieces. I cannot walk through walls. When you say that, you're assuming things I don't assume at all. And if I do assume, then the answer is I can't. But it's so hard to put everything so precisely, Don. Don't you know what I mean? So just because something is hard, you don't try to do it. Walking was hard at first, but you practiced at it, and now you make it look easy. Yeah, okay, forget the question. I'll forget it. My question is, can you? He looked at me as though he hadn't a care in the world. So you're saying that body is illusion and wall is illusion, but identity is real and that can't be hemmed by illusions? I'm not saying that. You're saying that. But it's true. Naturally, he said. How do you do it? Richard, you don't do anything. You see it done already, and it is. Gee, that sounds easy. It's like walking. You wonder how it ever came hard for you to learn. Don, walking through walls, it isn't hard for me now. It is impossible. Do you think that maybe if you say impossible over and over again 1,000 times that suddenly hard things will become easy for you? I'm sorry. It is possible, and I'll do it when it's right for me to do it. He walks on water, folks, and he is discouraged because he doesn't walk through walls. But that was easy, and this argue for your limitations and you get to keep them, he's saying. Did you not a week ago swim in the earth itself? I did that. And is not wall just vertical earth? Does it matter that much to you which direction the illusion runs? Horizontal illusions are conquerable. But vertical illusions aren't? I think you're getting through to me, Don. He looked at me and smiled. The time I get through to you is the time to leave you alone for a while. The last building in town was a feed and grain warehouse, a big place built of orange brick. It was almost as if he had decided to take a different way back to the airplanes, turning down some secret shortcut alley. The shortcut was through the brick wall. He turned abruptly to the right, into the wall, and he was gone. I think now that if I had turned at once with him, I could have gone through it too, but I just stopped on the sidewalk and looked at the place where he had been. When I put out my hand and touched the brick, it was solid brick. Someday, Donald, I said, someday. I walked alone the long way back to the airplanes. Donald, I said when I got to the field, I have come to the conclusion that you just don't live in this world. He looked at me, startled from the top of his wing, where he was learning to pour gas into the tank. Of course not. Can you tell me one person who does? What do you mean, can I tell you one person who does? Me! I live in this world. Excellent, he said, as though through independent study I had uncovered a hidden mystery. Remind me to buy you lunch today. I marvel at the way you never stop learning. I puzzled over that. He wasn't being sarcastic or ironic. He had meant just what he said. What do you mean? Of course I live in this world, me and about 4 billion other people. It's you who... Oh, God, Richard, you're serious? Cancel the lunch, no hamburger, no malt, no nothing at all. Here I had thought you had reached the major knowing. He broke off and looked down on me in angry pity. You're sure of that? You live in the same world, do you, as a stockbroker, shall we say? Your life has just been all tumbled and changed, I presume, by the new SEC policy. Mandatory review of portfolios with shareholder investment lost more than 50%? You live in the same world as a tournament chess player, do you? With New York Open going on this week? Petrosian and Fisher and Brown in Manhattan for a $500,000 purse? What are you doing in a hayfield in Maitland, Ohio? You, with your 1929 Fleet biplane, landed on a farm field with your major life priorities, farmers' permission, people who wait 10-minute airplane rides, Kenner aircraft engine maintenance, and mortal fear of hailstorms. How many people do you think live in your world? You say 4 billion people live in your world. Are you standing way down there on the ground and telling me that 4 billion people do not live in 4 billion separate worlds? Are you going to put that across on me? He panted from his fast talking. I could almost taste that hamburger with the cheese melting, I said. I'm sorry. I would have been so happy to buy. But that's over and done now. Best forgotten. Though it was the last time I accused him of not living in this world, it took me a long time to understand the words where the handbook opened. If you will practice being fictional for a while, you will understand that fictional characters are sometimes more real than people with bodies and heartbeats.